1 beer, 2 beers, 3 beers, a shot of whiskey, a margarita, and a Bloody Mary.
Homeboy tripping, he ain't know I got a gun. When it come to pop, man, we do shit for fun. You ain't got one, brother, you better run. Now I'm in the back getting head from my huns. While she going down, I break it off what I done. Smoking on my blunt, saying she ain't having fun.
Bitch, give it back then. You don't need none.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
Love it.
Weak beer crack.
Everybody in the club getting
Weak one.
tipsy.
These German ones, they don't pop like the old Irish ones.
No. Do they have the nitrogen in them?
Yeah, no Radler. They're fucking delicious. I mean, I'll give them that. They're fucking delicious.
What is that
I
there?
cannot tell you what the name is.
In honor of TBR, what you drinking?
Cost Striker, I think. Cost Striker. It's a Germany's #1 black lager.
#1.
If they advertise #1, it's fucking got to be #1.
Can you imagine? I feel like that's a marketing ploy that foreign countries could exploit. So if I owned a brewery in wherever, literally name a foreign country, Afghanistan, and if I were to sell, it could be the shittiest beer ever, export it to the U.S., but slap the label on there, Afghanistan's #1 lager or whatever. Like,
I'd try it.
Exactly. That's what
I'm
saying. Like,
I try it once,
and then you're gonna have the people that buy it on their way to a party, and they're like, "Did you know that this is Afghanistan's #1 lager?" It reminds me of Elf when he takes old girl to the diner to have the world's best cup of coffee.
Is it pretty good?
I
don't
think
remember.
so. Oh, it's terrible, but because she's blindfolded and she tastes it, and he's like, "What's it taste like?" And she's like, "A terrible cup of coffee." He goes, "It's the world's best cup of coffee." Yeah, because it had like a neon sign in the window that said like, "World's best cup of coffee."
Let's talk about that movie for a second. What a big letdown. Will Ferrell, love the guy. I can't do that movie a whole bunch. James Caan being a bitter, old, crusty fucker might be the best part of the whole movie. I don't know.
I don't mind it. I could watch it once a year at Christmas time. I think it's funny. I think like his ignorance and innocence is pretty funny.
Like in the beginning when he's in the North Pole, he doesn't fit in the chairs and shit. Like, I get that. I love that part. After that, I don't know. It dries up pretty quick for me.
Oh, come on. When he buys the lingerie,
dries up pretty
quick
for
that
me.
special someone, and it's for his fucking 7-year-old father. It's pretty good.
For a 70-year-old, I guess. I don't remember that part. Maybe.
Yeah,
he's
like shopping. He goes to see him, and they kick him out of the building, and he's like shopping at Macy's or some shit, and he sees this like that gift for that special someone, and it's like this fucking lingerie.
Of all the things I would usually remember, I don't remember this one.
No.
I'm not gonna watch it just to remember it, but I'll take your word for it.
I think there's some pretty good scenes in that movie. Hey, let's talk about movies for a minute. I was watching something the other day. Again, I was educating myself on the talk, and I think it was something about a movie, and I was in the comments scrolling through, and I'm reading it, and I'm like, oh, I mean, I started feeling my blood pressure going up, and I'm like, okay, there's a group of people I need to add to my list of people that fucking irritate the shit out of me. Like the lingo people, I'm going to use military time to an average person and pretend they know what I'm talking about. Or, I'm going to use some sort of terminology that's unique that makes me sound smarter than everyone else. And this group of people are the ones who refer to movies as films. I have seen that.
What's wrong with films?
I've seen that film. You pretentious motherfucker. Like, you saw a movie. It's one of the finest films I've ever seen. Like, that's how I hear it when someone like types it out and I read it in my head. That's how
I have these people's back. Although I'm not sure I've ever called a movie a film.
No, you
Me
have not.
myself.
That's what I'm saying. You haven't, and you wouldn't. Like, what do you?
I
It's like
haven't, but I will observe their right to fucking call it a film if that's what they're into. Just me. That's I got bigger shit. You know what I
so.
mean? That ain't one
How
of them.
often? How often do you sit down? I mean, I get if you're drinking a unique import, you may do this, but like Busch Light, okay, is technically a lager, okay? Like
Oh,
that's the type of
no.
beer it is. Yes, it is. Like that's like
Oh
the.
God, really?
But I'm saying, yeah, it'd be like me saying like I'm gonna sit down in the night and have a few lagers, drink a few ales. Like, what the fuck, man? Just say you're gonna have a beer. Like that's
I
what every
think a
other normal
movie. I
person.
think a movie is much closer to being a film than a Busch Light is
No,
to
a
being any
movie.
sort of
No,
lager.
a movie is a film. Like that's what it is. So they're not like
It's recorded on film.
technically, or someone who calls their doctor. I let me go see my physician. It's a doctor. Like
Yeah,
it's a doctor.
it's a scientific term. I'm okay with that.
Let me. I'm gonna get in my automobile and drive to the gas station. Like, your car. People like that's the one thing. Car is like a catch-all. You can be a van, truck, hoopty, car. It's a car.
Just has wheels, right?
That's right. And
My bicycle has wheels, Brad. Is it also a car?
it could be to some people. It is. I'm sure.
Okay, fair
But
enough.
my thing is you're not going to say automobile. You're not going to say physician. You're not going to say film.
We're gonna discuss some of the finest films here next week
Are
on
we?
Pub Time Podcast. I don't know. I don't know. We're throwing up. It's the ball's in your court next week, bud.
That's fine. I'll have to
I'm taking the Pub Time to hell. I don't know where you take us.
for the second time. You've taken us to hell twice.
Yeah.
The last time was
Howie didn't take us to hell.
last
That's all
time
right
it was,
though.
but from what I interpret, this one is not taking us to hell either necessarily.
No, not even close.
I have some thoughts on this whole thing. It's similar to thoughts I had when we did Anton LaVey,
No.
but this the what is this the
We're not any
Satanic
closer.
temple?
We're not any closer to banging James Manfield. That's unfortunate.
No. So the Satanic temple is what we're going to talk about today. Correct?
Yep.
And there's some similarities, but there's some some pretty big differences in my opinion between them and the Church of Satan, and that's what Anton LaVey's thing was, right?
Correct.
Um,
Peter Gilmore, I believe, is now the Dark Lord.
See that the Church of Satan seemed a little more gimmicky
Yeah,
to me.
douchey. Yeah.
Like
The
they
robes
really
and
played it up. Yeah. But we'll get into the Satanic Temple. But you picked a on topic, I should say, 5 for 5 for today.
yeah.
5 for 5 things that you would sell your soul for. And I think like whether you are religious in any way or not, I think I shouldn't say we all, most people
Y'all.
believe that I think most people believe in a soul, believe that there is some sort of energy that exists inside of us that maybe, it has its own life to it outside of this mortal body, right? That could carry on after death or whatever the case may be. I think most people believe in some version of a soul. What do you think?
I don't know. I'm a firm believer that your soul is basically what you leave here on earth, man. You impact people in a good way. That's what you're passing
So
on.
like your legacy,
Not so
maybe.
much legacy, just how you've impacted other people. You help other people, your children, you teach your children to do right. They'll teach their children to do right. Like that's how I see it. I don't imagine my soul being, I don't know.
So do you
If
think
that's the case, I probably haven't treated my soul very well. You know what I mean? I don't know what it's gonna do
right.
for the rest of eternity.
So do you think that is your belief that we die and then it's just a cold, lifeless body that gets buried in the ground and that's it. That's all she wrote.
No, not
That's
necessarily.
kind of depressing.
It is, but I think life in general a lot of times can be depressing. And I've told you before, heaven and hell to me, I think, is right here, right now.
I could see what you're saying. I think there's some truth to that. And I'll on and to go back to you die and then you basically you're a lifeless body that's buried in the ground and that's it. That's where it ends. Hard stop. I think that if there were Vegas odds on this, that would probably be the odds on favorite for most
Yeah.
likely. Um, that's not what I necessarily believe. Like I said, I tend to believe that, there is an energy that exists in all of us that does carry on in some way, shape, or form. Uh, how, where, why? Questions I haven't answered yet. Probably never answer.
Yeah. And like I said, in my belief, I just kind of feel like that energy gets passed on into other people. You know what I mean? If you
Yeah.
if
No, I
you're
get what you're saying.
worthless and you treat other people like shit, whatever else, I think that radiates into them. If you beat your children and you treat them like shit, unfortunately, when their kids are older, more than likely, what are they going to do to their kids? You're going to
Yeah,
treat
the
them the
same.
same way.
Yeah, typically.
So if you're a
Typically.
decent person, you try to do the right things. You try to have those teachable moments to yourself and others. That energy, that soul, that whatever, kind of gets passed on to that next generation. And that's what you want, is it not? You know what I mean? I just can't imagine my energy just hanging out somewhere for fucking eternity. That doesn't sound realistic to me. I don't know. Reincarnation, sure, maybe. I don't know.
I think that there
Maybe
may
that's
be
how it
some
happens, but
I think that's possible in ways. Um, it's fascinating to think about. Uh, I don't know that anyone who is I think there's nothing wrong with faith. Like, I think it's healthy to have faith and to believe in a higher power of some sort, whatever that is. But I think anyone that is rational um, has to just be fascinated by the different possibilities. I think whether you believe in it or not, I think you have to be I think you have to accept that it's just as likely that someone else someone else's version of God or the afterlife or what happens to us is it's just as likely that they are correct that it is that you are correct. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
And maybe they would say, well, then that means you don't have faith if you believe that's possible. But I think that's being I don't know, bullheaded a little bit. Just I think it's ignoring reality in a way.
yeah, I mean, some of those same people that say that kind of shit are telling us 3 years ago to trust the science. It's like, unfortunately, science probably doesn't necessarily agree with your beliefs all the times. And that's
True.
I like to see the world like right down the middle. And I'll accept whatever bullshit I want to believe sometimes.
Yeah, I kind of
So
look at it like I'm on one of those rides where maybe you go into you're in the middle on a track or in a boat, whatever, in a little nice stream, and on either side of you there are scenes of things happening trying to tell a story. And I feel like that's life sometimes, kind of like what you just said that I try to approach life like I'm just riding right down the middle, looking to both sides and kind of just taking it all in, what's happening. And usually it's, well, I kind of come out of that going, you're both really stupid.
who's really stupid?
Well, just both sides, you know what I mean?
Yeah, it happens quite a bit. And not necessarily that they're stupid, but they're blind to like one side or the other of the same, so many times you see people they fight religion in general, a lot of times, right? There's stories, the creation, the whole bit. They sound really fucking similar. Different names for different people, but the story is pretty, you know, you change a couple
Yeah,
things
yeah,
here or
it's
there, it could be the same
sure.
fucking story.
No, it's similar, and I don't mean like to
Yet
say
they will fight tooth and nail over that same quote unquote belief.
right.
And
I'm not
I
trying.
don't
I
fucking
don't
get
mean to say
that.
you're stupid because you believe in you believe in whatever your version of religion is. I mean more
No,
so that the fact that you have people who I'm right, you're wrong, hard
that's
stop.
what I yeah, that's what
Like
I'm
that's
saying.
absurd.
From one denomination to the next, you know. That's where I'm at with it.
Yeah. And
And
I think that and I don't even think you could just color it, you know, with broad strokes like that. I think you have to look at it's kind of person by person. I think this is really on an individual basis, whether you as a human being are open minded enough to accept other realities or other possibilities. It doesn't mean that you lack faith. You believe whatever you want to believe, and you can believe it with every ounce of your being, but I, you have to let other people believe what they believe and accept that there's nothing that entitles you to be right more than them. You know what I mean?
yeah, I've always had a very strong belief, and this is off the deep end, but if for some reason your religion, you know, word for word tells you that you should take up arms against someone else, possibly even kill them in the name of your religion, you should start with yourself. And I
Yeah,
feel
I
like
mean,
most
more
most of this would you know, solve itself,
yeah,
I think a lot of time.
more people have been killed in the name of God than anything else.
Totally agree.
Yeah. And I think that it's sorry, a little distraction there.
That's all right.
Um
She trying to get on the pub. Shit,
yeah,
maybe
I
she's
know.
got something to say.
She might. She's waging war on grandpa right now, it sounds like.
Bible study. If you'd have built those fucking walls like I told you,
Yeah, I'll put a lock on the door. Whatever, let's move on. Let's hop into
put a lock on your curtain.
let's get into the 5 for 5. What do you want to do what we've been doing going
Oh yeah,
tit for
1v1.
tat?
Yeah, I'm going first.
Go ahead. Number 5.
Robert Johnson, I'm going down to the crossroads. I would fucking sell my soul to be able to play the guitar. Like at a high level though, not like some of these other assholes. Dirks Bentley. Like to be able to really sit down and play the guitar, that'd be the shit. I'd probably give my soul up for that.
No, I think that's a good one. And number 5, I would sell my soul for great hair, a great head of hair that I
What do
could
you mean? Shoulder length? Or
however I wanted it, man. Like
you just be happy for it to touch your ears again?
just a long, luscious mane that I could craft
We
into any shape I wanted.
we let it grow out just one time.
It'd be so bad.
We
Just be a
it's
skullet, man.
what? You think
It
you
would
got the
be
friar tuck going on?
I would look like Hulk Hogan did in
Please,
like 1997,
one time.
except
For
for
the listeners.
it would be brown instead of white.
For the listeners. Could you do it just once?
It'd take a long time, man.
Put a little fertilizer on that goddamn thing.
And it's the hair that I do have grows in so thick. It's not
That's what
like
I'm saying.
it's not like luscious.
It is luscious. You have like those Jewish curls. You get those real you got that olive colored skin. I need to really trace this Powell family tree back because
It's I guarantee
you
you,
get them
it's
tight.
all weird.
You get those Hasidic curls in there. I love it.
What do you
Lots
got
of
for number?
love.
What do you got for number 4?
Number 4, things I would sell my soul for. I'm gonna go for a superpower. I'd like to be able to fly like fucking Superman. That'd be badass. I'm a huge bitch about heights. So I think it'd be sweet to just be able to, you know what I mean?
Think about
I
this.
think it'd be badass.
What if someone comes along and they're like, Ryan, I can grant you the gift of flight, but there are some restrictions.
You have
You
to
can
check your
only
bags in.
fly 10 miles per hour.
No, that'd be all right. I could do
That's it.
that.
10
I
miles
could
per
do
hour.
that. I didn't spill my beer then. That ain't bad at all.
Can you imagine you just like hovering through the air
What up, bitches?
10
I'd be like Chris Angel.
miles per
That's not
hour?
bad.
It'd take you forever to get anywhere, and you wouldn't be able to like escape. Like,
Yes, I could. From who? Who else can
I just
fly?
mean like
That bitch didn't sell their
it'd be
soul.
like shooting fucking clay pigeons, man.
It'd be
Like
fine.
as you're
It'd be
flying away,
fine.
as you're flying out,
I could do some gymnastics and shit while I'm up
as you're
there.
flying out some random woman's window, just
Mm,
slowly ascending.
my neighbor's a bad shot. I'll be fine.
My number 4 is no hangovers. I would sell my soul to be able to drink as much as just much of whatever, whenever. Still
It's
like
humanly possible.
still
Yeah.
get like drunk, still get a buzz, I guess, get the benefits, if you will. Some people may scoff at that, but you know what I'm saying. Have a good time, but without the nasty hangover the next day. That would be a winner in my book.
No hangovers?
No, man.
How long you been drinking now? You're telling me you're still getting
Wow.
hangovers?
I mean,
I
not
mean, I
only
gotta
if
fucking
I
really get into them
well,
now.
I'm saying if I really I mean, like, I get, like, a nasty hangover, I don't know,
I think I'm gonna get my pull on this bourbon now. I just seen it. You're
2
talking about
or 2 or
hangovers.
3 times a year, maybe, I don't know, something maybe 4, not many, handful tops, you
Oh,
know? Because I know when to hit the fucking brakes, I mean, that's why. I mean, yeah, I've got a higher tolerance, but I also know, I can feel it, and I know myself, and I know when to call it quits for the most part. But there's times where the moment just hits you, right? And you can't. You just gotta put the pedal to the metal, and you know that you're gonna pay the price.
that fucking Four Roses. It's very good.
It is
Damn,
good.
it's good.
It's a fucking rock solid bourbon.
She's smooth, bud. It's got
Yeah.
weird. It's got a little bit of a cinnamon, or it's got something in there. Something
Yeah.
different.
You know what? We're probably those people because I bet you, like, random person's like, can't you just call it whiskey?
It's
We're like
not whiskey. It's made in a
bourbon.
specific way.
Yeah, for sure.
Canadian Mist is whiskey. We had this discussion.
Yeah, that's another thing that
Whiskey's not great.
That's another thing that Canadians don't do as well as the Americans.
Bourbons. Well, they can't. But
Number
all right,
3.
number three. I would sell my soul. It's funny you said Hulk Hogan earlier, but I would sell my soul to be like a legit professional wrestler. Not now. Not now. Like back in the 80s. You know what I mean? Like to be the fucking ultimate warrior or something, like top of your game. Huge bone. Those guys, some of their stories, it sounds like they lived a wonderful life. Their family hated them. They lived a wonderful life.
So what you're
Most of them
saying
are dead of heart attacks.
is you want to be riding in a Cadillac. You want to be riding shotgun in a Cadillac DeVille from Birmingham, Alabama to Memphis, Tennessee with The Undertaker, Ric Flair, and Razor Ramon.
No, I want the Sheik and Roddy Piper.
There you go.
Fuck Undertaker, fuck Razor. I want the Sheik and Roddy Piper. I want us all to get busted.
And the Nature Boy.
Fuck.
Nature Boy still, right?
Kid is driving.
Right.
Shit, I'm high on cocaine. I don't even know where we're headed. Yeah, but that'd be cool. I'd definitely sell my soul for that.
They say though Undertaker was like the dude, man. Like he ruled the roost. He like held parties. Like he was the guy. But I think he also held people to a stand there too. It sounds like it's like, hey, you do what you want, but you fucking show up and do your job. He was like
Yeah. He beat your fucking ass.
It's like
Mother hen.
the Hispanic fellers that you work with. You go party
What's
all you
that?
want, and they show up and work their asses off. They'd be great pro
Fuck.
wrestlers.
Every one of them, probably all luchadors. Those guys
Num
stay out all fucking night, 65 years old. I don't know how the fuck they do it.
That's crazy, man. I don't know either. Like, what does that genetic makeup look like?
They gotta be saints when they go home. You know what I mean? It must just be because they're away. Because some Mexican women, they probably beat the fuck out of them guys. They knew what they were really doing.
Oh, I'm sure.
Where'd half that check go? $2 beers at fucking Big Al's.
Oh, shit. We only make 10 peso 1 hour. I said that with like a Korean accent or something. Anyways, moving on
That's
before we
right.
offend anyone else. Number 3 for me, very similar to yours. I put Division 1 athletic ability. So I don't even need to be a pro. Just the experience of being, whether it's a Division 1 football player, basketball player, wrestler, what, just Division 1 athletic ability. I think that'd be a really cool experience because I think the experience of being a high level college athlete is much cooler than at the pro level. The pro level, yeah, you're playing with the best, the money's all this, but like, you know, playing basketball at Cameron Indoor for Duke or wrestling Carver Hawkeye or, playing at Notre Dame Stadium or the Coliseum at USC, some of these cool places with these crazy student bodies or, playing, at, in a fucking Alabama Auburn game, the Iron Bowl or what, just some shit like that would be crazy, man. It's nuts. I mean, I bet that's a highlight of some of those dudes' lives, and that may even include some guys that go to the NFL.
Division 1. That's all you want? You,
Yeah, good. Division 1, and then I can break my leg like the last
uh,
play I ever play and then move on with my life.
24, you'd just be gone. You'd just be a slave to the devil for the rest of your life.
That's okay.
Okay.
Soul well spent.
Oh, fuck. Speaking of soul well spent, my number 2, I would like to add my name to the long list of gentlemen. A-Rod, Ben Affleck. Oh, I can't remember the shitty singer, but just let me get a shot at J-Lo. I'd sell my soul.
Of
Even
all
50. Huh?
of all the women in the world, Jennifer
Jennifer
Lopez?
Lopez? I'm gonna take a shot. Fuck it. You know what I
I
mean?
mean, I don't even know. I'm so indecisive. I don't even know who I'd pick.
What's that
But
other guy?
I don't
She was
think it'd
married
be
to that other guy
Jennifer
for a
Lopez.
while. With the
I
curly oh
know.
fuck.
I know who you're talking about.
You ain't fucking seen it, son. God damn, you kidding me?
I've
That's worthy.
seen what? Seen what? Seen
He'll come
what?
back in here with that Connie Britton shit. Don't you dare.
No, that wouldn't be
Don't
it.
you dare.
I would not spend my soul on
I
that.
wouldn't sell your fucking soul for that.
I would not.
Yeah, put me on the list. Renifer, just like Benifer, A-Rod, and that other fucking guy. He looks like John Leguizamo, but it's not. I don't know what the fuck his name
I know
is.
exactly who you're talking about.
I
and
can see him. It's Mark
can't-
something. Mark Antony.
Yes.
Fuck. I was like, I can
couldn't
see
even,
his ass.
Couldn't even spell his first name right and couldn't put an H in his last name.
That's all right.
Stupid. All
Put
right.
me on the list. Sign me up, Dev.
Number 2. In this, I put great overall health. I think health is honestly probably the most valuable currency because as long as you're healthy and alive, like you can do almost anything you fucking want to, right? You
No,
can work to
listen.
make money.
You're treating this like I Dream of Jeannie. This is the devil. You're selling your soul for this. It's not going to be eternal life. You
I'm
know
not saying eternal
he's a
life.
tricky little fuck.
Oh, sure, yeah, I'll be like the healthiest guy ever for like a day, right? I mean, in some of these things, like, I guess I was gonna say some of these things that you could create on your own without the devil's help, but great hair, probably not happening for me. No hangovers, I guess, if I just stop drinking. I'll never be a Division 1 athlete.
I'm
And
not
yeah, the
banging
health
out
thing,
Jennifer Lopez anytime soon.
no, probably not. But as far as I'd say great overall health though, just because, like I said, there's just the longevity, right, of life and the ability to do whatever you'd want to do. Um, And like I said, like the healthier you are, the longer you live, assuming that's the case, you can basically do, you can work to make money to do the things you want to do or whatever else. I just think that it's kind of the gateway to freedom in a way, because you can do almost anything you want as long as you're generally healthy. I don't know. And I mean like exceptional health, like, great cardio. Like I could go run a marathon tomorrow. Like I could go wrap out 10, 20 or 225, 30 times. I mean, just no big deal. Like skip a rope, do a dance, do some pull ups, some push ups, smack the old lady around for hours. I mean,
For
just
out 24, that's all you get. This guy's giving you 1 day, bud.
what do you got? Number two,
No, this is my one.
number one.
And I'm fucking break character. I'm break character. I'm going Sally Struthers on this one.
What?
Uh-oh. I'm going Sally Struthers on this one. I'd sell my soul to end world hunger. Just because I can't imagine a child like going to bed at night like legit hungry. Not hungry because their ass didn't want to eat what was made for them, but just hungry out of principle. Like there was actually nothing to eat. That sounds awful. You know what I mean?
Oh, fucking 100% awful. I mean,
I
it's one
c-
of the saddest things that you could think about.
there's
That
there's been there's been times in my life where maybe I didn't have what I wanted, but you still had something. So
I think the two worst things that a human being could be are hungry and homeless. Um, and far too often they go hand in hand. Um, you could say, I mean, I think another one I guess you could throw in that is alone, right? If
yeah.
you're hungry, homeless, and alone, that's
Sometimes if you're an asshole, you're alone anyway. I mean, that just
right.
happens. But hungry and not everybody, I guess. So I'm gonna get back to being a little bit of a dickhead, but specifically, world hunger, children.
Right.
Take care of those kids. Fucking give them a
Just
cheeseburger,
no,
something.
yeah, I think that's just in general, man. Like kids should. It is fucking terrible to see children suffer in any way, whether it's hunger or just fucking terrible parents that don't give a fuck, or no parents, and so
Even if
they're
they're
in the
little assholes, feed the little assholes too.
right.
I'm serving it up, so go ahead.
Yeah, no, I hear you, and a large reason why um, these kids are assholes is because of their environment and the circumstances that they've been raised in. And I'm not saying that assholes are only raised by poor people, because
No,
there are plenty of assholes that grew
or
up with
raised by
everything.
other assholes.
Yeah, and just, they were never taught how to treat other people. Um, but no, I think you're right, man. Like I mean that just to put it in the simplest form, yeah.
That'd be
Feed
a
the
good
kids.
one.
So
It's
my
fucked. There's so many people, like, I'll tell you what, nothing pissed me off more than when we cook shit and it's like, pitch it out. It's
yeah.
wasteful. I fucking hate it. Kills me.
Yeah, as the older I've gotten, I just become more in tune with like reality, and it bothers me more and more. And
Or if
not just because we paid for it, right? And it's like, but just because, like, for fuck's sake, like, you telling me like there are literally people out there that would eat shit out of this trash can right now. I mean, it would be the best day they've had in a long time, and here we are, pretentious
throwing it out.
motherfuckers throwing it in the
Yeah.
garbage, like,
Yeah.
eh. So gluttonous, right? You think about it.
It is. It's wasteful. And same with like, if I go out fishing, hunting, whatever the case. I hate killing something that doesn't get used. Like that bothers the fuck out of me. I hate it. You know what I mean?
Well,
Bothers me.
I told you, I think I've told you, I don't know if I told it on the podcast or not, but my former boss went on like I don't know, it was a squirrel, maybe it was a dove hunt. He went on a dove hunt with his like his dad and his grandpa when he was a kid, and he was sitting there, and there was like a fucking blackbird or some shit, just regular fucking bird. He's bored, so he shoots it, and it's like his dad or grandpa comes over, and they're like, "What'd you get?" And he showed him, like, "Oh, put it in the bag." And so when they got back, grandma cleans it all and cooks it right then and there. And she's like, "What's this?" I said, "Well, he killed that today." She's like, "Yeah, he can't eat this." They're like, "Nope, he's gonna eat it, and he's gonna learn right now that you don't shoot something unless you're gonna fucking eat it." And so
What's wrong with that blackbird, son? What are you saying?
right.
You got something against it?
So, I mean, I guess as long as you don't get bird flu or whatever, you're all right. But I mean, honestly though, and the thing is as a fucking 40-year-old man, he still remembers that story like it was yesterday, man. And that was the last time he ever fucking took a life that he didn't, you
A
know.
fucking crow probably didn't taste much like dove, I would imagine.
No, no. I mean, he said it was like black after it was cooked. He said it was terrible.
No, there's a reason why there's a ton of
Yeah.
these fucking birds.
So my number one is, and I just put it as simply as possible. I put opportunity. And what I mean by that, and like you're talking about this like it's a one day, like one off. And I guess I approach this more like it'd be
No,
like
no, it's
something.
not a one day. But I was just being a dick
Yeah.
when you said perfect health.
So opportunity. And what I mean by, and some people might say, "Oh, well, why don't you ask for $1 billion or some shit like that?" Sure, I guess, but like, I think you and I, money's nice, as long as you got what you need, like, I think that it's I don't know that it's not all it's cracked up to be, and then maybe that's just because I don't have enough of it to think that way, but uh opportunity, and I mean an opportunity to make my own money. I would love an opportunity to like to be given a business. Like, hey, here you go. Here's a business opportunity. Here's a business that you can take and make it your own. And then it's up to me to make it successful. It's not like it's a handout entirely. It's an opportunity to succeed and create my own wealth or whatever may come of it, or failure. But just an opportunity. And I think that, I mean, and that is a lot, because you could say, well, anybody can start a business. Well, sure, but like not anybody can start a successful business. I mean, most businesses fail. So I'm saying, like, take all the grunt work of creating a uh sustainable company of some type, and it's like, here's the keys to the car. See what you can do. Um that I think I like the fact that it's, I think, challenging, mentally challenging, in a lot of ways, and that, there's a lot of reward to be had, and not because when you own a company, you don't only um, have the opportunity to make your own life better, but you have the opportunity to make the lives of people who work for your company better,
Correct.
and sort of like, carrying that torch, right, to like, hey, like, I want to make this company succeed so that these people can have good, successful lives. I think that's awesome. Like I said, opportunity. And you said something similar to it earlier.
One of my favorite quotes all time in life is opportunity is missed by most people because it's dressed in overalls and it looks like work. You
Yeah.
know what I mean?
Oh,
They just look
100%.
past it. So if all they knew they had to do was sell their fucking soul, they wouldn't miss it. They just do it.
Exactly. Well, I mean, look at Dirty Jobs, right? I mean, that guy made a career out of going and talking to people who, as he
Just what
says,
they
like,
do
when
every
when
day
every
for a
when it
living.
when everybody went left, they went right. And it's a lot of those jobs are things that most people wouldn't want to do. And the people doing them are happy as could be and
Make pretty
make a
good.
great living. Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's I don't
So
know, man. That's really cool. I mean, it's awesome.
he did one at like a sewage processing plant. There's some poor fucker. I don't know if they draw straws, what they do, but that fucker gets clogged up sometimes. You got to scuba. You got to scuba down in that thing,
That'd be
pull that
terrible.
clog out.
Ugh. There's a lot of things I
They
would
ain't
rather
one
do than that.
turd. You know what I mean? That ain't
Right.
one. That's many.
Well, and the thing, you probably can't see any, I was gonna say you can't see shit, but that's all you see is shit. Like, I
Oh my
mean,
god.
I bet. I mean, just imagine if you got a flashlight, it's just brown. Just brown. And I hope you have something like a full face thing.
No, they legit. No, they scoop. Like we're talking a big holding tank, man. Like
So you're
20 feet
talking
deep.
like they're in a
The
like a
big, the
diver.
yes, yes. They scuba in the shit
Well, you
to
know,
get that clog.
scuba divers just wear a mask and they got a respirator, hooked to a
We ain't
tank.
talking about the coral reef, man. I mean, this guy
No, you
is.
can scuba dive but you're saying they're in a full suit, like a helmet.
They have to. You're
Oh, for
swimming in
sure.
feces.
Feces.
Like,
That's what I'm
yeah,
saying. I hope so. I mean, can you imagine all the shit that
this
we get
ain't
stuck?
just some fucking.
Can you
This ain't
imagine
Baywatch.
all the shit that gets stuck in our beards?
Ugh.
I know,
That'd be
man. That
alright.
smell never come out ever.
Ever. Probably smell a lot like that hoodie you're wearing.
Yeah, maybe.
Shit.
So the one that I thought about when you were talking about Jennifer Lopez and all that stuff, and
Yeah.
this was kind of weird, but I think there's a lot of guys that would sell their soul for this. We'll call this one an honorable mention. Although I had musical ability as an honorable mention, and you had that as your number 5. I think I
Yeah.
also said that when we did a superpowers 5 for 5 at one point, and I used musical ability.
You think that's a
But
superpower?
oh, sure, maybe. I mean, fuck it. For some
Yeah,
people, it
some
is.
of them are pretty fucking good. Yeah,
You seen what some of those guys are married to? Tell me it ain't a fucking superpower.
something.
Um, but anyways, if as a man you had the ability to and I think of it like this: you had a button, not really a button, more of a like mental button that you could push to control when you bust a nut. Like you could just go to town, and then it's just like engage.
Now,
You know what I mean? And not until you push that button, like you are in full total control, and then just. And so, if you're in a bad situation, you might tap that button a little sooner.
we got to get out of here.
You
Time
know
to
what I mean?
go.
But in
The
another
easy button.
situation,
That's what you're looking for.
yeah, because I mean, let's be
Staples
honest.
had it. It's the
Let's be
easy
honest.
button.
If Jennifer Lopez, if you got that opportunity,
Oh fuck! I'm.
you would
I tie my hand up
you would
behind
not.
my back.
I mean, I don't know about you, but I'd almost feel like something like that's almost an opportunity wasted. I'd be like, man, this is a great fucking idea, but this is gonna be the most depressing 12 seconds of her fucking life. Like
Be the best
it's like,
12 of
well,
mine though.
this was really cool. Thanks for coming. I mean, I guess you didn't, but I did. See you later. Uh, yeah. I mean, I think that if you could have that, that'd be like a superpower for sure.
No, we did that 5 for 5, and I don't even think J Lo made my list, to be honest.
Probably not.
But
Probably not.
we weren't talking about selling my soul that night, so
No. So let's dive in to the Satanic Temple.
what do you think? Before when I first brought this up, tell the listeners. Let's get a little taste
Of
of what you had in mind. Because this is
I
not the first
wasn't.
time. This was not the first time I had brought this up.
No, I wasn't crazy about it. I I don't know. It's not something that when I hear and I'll get into this as we talk more about it, but like when I hear Satanic Temple, like I think I have the same visions in my head everybody else. It's like this, satanic devil worshippers, all this stuff, and it's like I'm not really interested in that. Like it's just weird. I mean, it's not that I'm like creeped out by it. It's just not something that interests me. But then I got in and I read what you put together, and I got going into the 5 for 5, and I'm like, I kind of came out of it with a different perspective a little bit, and got to the point where I was really looking forward to talking about it because it's sort of a um I think that really the biggest I think a religion, if that's what we're gonna call this,
Yeah.
like this, they don't do themselves any favors. Like they need someone in charge of like marketing and branding to like change how they present themselves because I think what lies behind the curtain's really good stuff. The issue is the way that I think, their curb appeal sucks. I
But
mean,
a big part of most of them, which we'll get into, I think the curb appeal is the blasphemy, like the parishioners, quote unquote.
You mean
That's what
those?
they kind of the people that belong to the temple. I think
Gotcha.
that's what they kind of get off on because they are converts from other religions
Sure,
that
sure,
were
but
maybe cast aside or felt
but when
left
I
out
hear
or
when I hear whether it's Anton LaVey and the Church of Satan or the Satanic Temple, like you think
now.
devil worshiper. I think of
Listen,
guys
listen,
in
listen. I know a lot of people make connections between the two. They could not be farther away from each other, though.
Oh, I get what you're saying. My point is that
But yes, people on the outside just hear the name, hear that
because
one word.
there were a lot of things that they were part of what Anton LaVey was doing that we said that makes sense. That there's some sound reasoning to those thought processes. Like it's not devil worship. That's the thing. That's what I'm saying. I think that
Yes, yes, yes.
you know,
Yeah, see,
they need to
they're
paint their house a
advertising.
different they need to paint their house a different color. Like I think that they are turning people off that could probably be
So
helped by this because of the message that their the sign out front sends. Like it's not devil worshiping.
their their
It's not
house is
satanic at all,
their
which is
house is
fucking
in
weird.
Salem, Massachusetts, and it is jet black. I mean, it sticks out like a sore dick. So I think some part of it they kind of want that publicity, the like you said, the dress it up a little bit, change it. Most people are just gonna be, at the first glance, gonna be like, oh fuck it. You know, Satan worshippers, not gonna listen to anything they gotta say.
Exactly.
But when you really dig into it, that's not what the fuck they are.
No, not at all. And so to dig in a little bit, so the Satanic Temple, it's often abbreviated TST. It's a non-theistic religious organization that is primarily based in the U.S. They've got congregations all around the world in Canada, Australia, Finland, Germany, UK. Co-founded by Lucian Greaves. He's the
Lucian.
Lucian Greaves. Of course, there's no way that's his fucking birth name.
No, I'm pretty sure it is. But
I bet he gave himself that name. Anyways, the organization spokesperson is Lucian and Malcolm Jerry. The organization uses satanic imagery to promote their egalitarianism, social justice, and the separation of church and state, supporting their mission to quote encourage benevolence and empathy among all people. So
so that right
that's
there.
what that when I read that, that's where my eyes started to open up a little bit. I'm like, okay, like this isn't what I thought it was, right?
Not at all. Yeah.
So um the Satanic Temple, they've utilized satire, theatrical ploys, humor, and legal action in their public campaigns to generate attention and prompt people to reevaluate fears and perceptions and to highlight religious hypocrisy and encroachment on religious freedom.
So one of their biggest ones, and they're wildly anti abortion laws.
Well, they're
And
just anti the church mandating how you live your life
anything, yes,
in
any
whatever
fucking
in any
thing.
fashion.
Like one thing I've listened back to probably 10 times now. They were huge on the time that Hobby Lobby would not pay for contraception for their employees.
Right. I can see
Like,
that. I mean, they are they're like the libertarians of religion. Like
oh, for sure. Yeah, they're fucking all
they're
over
the
it, but they're good.
they're
God,
the well, I'm saying, no,
they're
they're when I
really
said
fucking good
yeah,
at it.
they're the live and let live people. They're the you do you as long as what you're doing is not encroaching on me doing what I want to do.
Yeah.
Like let's just coexist. And honestly, that's how I believe. In general, that's a lot of my philosophies in life are based around that. Like you do your thing, I do my thing. I don't care. Like you
And
fuck, suck, shoot, smoke, whatever you want. I'll leave you alone. You leave me alone.
I'll have zero issues with you. You know what I mean? Don't push your shit on me. I'm not gonna push my shit on you. Like that's
Yeah, and don't try to push my shit
fuck that
in.
is. Well, yeah. Couple more beers. Let's see what happens.
So they do not believe in a supernatural Satan. So this again, like that's where the satanic thing, man, like just get that the fuck out of there. Like, and I get
But
maybe they're just trying to appear to be they're like, okay, like we're against organized religion and what they stand for. So we're gonna take up whatever the
the
complete
other half,
opposite of that is and use that
that's
as our
exactly what it is.
symbolism. But I think it probably I think there's a lot of people who are
What do you call it then?
I don't know. I think there's a lot of people who are skeptical of organized religion, but they're
Have
not
you
ready
have
to
you
be state. They're not going to be drawn to a satanic temple just
have
on the
have you
surface.
ever have you ever heard about the flying spaghetti monster religion?
No,
And it's a fucking real thing. Like it
again,
is
that's another religion that I would. Yeah, it's just and I don't know
recognized as a religion in the United States.
the flying spaghetti monster.
Yeah.
Or do they worship those things they have at car lots? Is that
I
what
don't
the
yeah,
big
the
thing that?
fucking yeah, the wind socks. Yeah, I
Yeah,
don't know.
instead of a
What's another
crucifix, they
thing?
got one of
Just
those up on the altar
off the fucking deep
blowing.
end. There's one for the Jedi, like Star Wars.
I've met those people.
I don't get it. But it's your own shit. I've said it before. I don't care. You could pray to a toaster. I don't care. Don't feed it to me. I'm not gonna feed it to you. Do
Yeah,
what you
instead
want. You know
for
what I mean?
sure, and so their deal is instead of a supernatural Satan, they employ a literary Satan as a metaphor to promote pragmatic skepticism, rational reciprocity, personal autonomy, and curiosity. So they're basically saying, come up with your own ideas, have your own fucking brain, create your own ideas. Don't be brainwashed, right? Don't believe this just because that's what these people are telling you. Don't allow yourself to be indoctrinated by uh books that have been, you know, gosh,
Handed down for years and years and years.
and it was that, but then rewritten, reinterpreted, so on and
Yeah.
so forth. And I'm not saying there aren't great lessons to be learned in that book. I just think that you have
Whoever
to
wrote
take
it,
it.
for some of it, they did a really good job.
Yeah,
I'll give them that.
absolutely. No, I don't. I'm not saying that those aren't real stories about real people and with real lessons to be learned. Uh, but I think you have to have the ability to formulate your own thoughts and beliefs. Um, yeah, and I think that's all that they're trying to say. Like I said, I could do without the Satan part for sure. It's
So
just uncomfortable to me.
where's you say that? And I think that's what they want. They want that uncomfortable part. And
But
this next part,
why limit the amount of people that you could reach though? Because I guarantee you it does.
you're going to reach some other people.
Because this could be much more popular if
And
it was just branded differently.
this next part really reached me. And that is that Satan is used as a symbol representing the eternal rebel against authority and social norms. I love that.
And I guess
Huge
okay,
fan.
so this is one thing I guess you have to consider. If you are someone who wholeheartedly believes in what the philosophies of these people are trying to preach, then you don't believe that a Satan as it is presented and organized
No,
Christian religion even exists. You know,
no,
he's
we
as
already
real
talked
he's as
non-the
real as Bugs Bunny at this point.
they're basically atheists in belief. They
Yeah.
believe in no
So if they believe in Bugs Bunny, this is the Church of Elmer Fudd. Like,
could be whatever, yeah.
right? They're just gonna take the opposite stance. And so I agree with you. So the eternal rebel against arbitrary authority and social norms, for sure. Um, adherents generally refer to their religion as Satanism or modern Satanism, while others refer to um, the Satanic Temple's religion as compassionate Satanism or the seven tenet Satanism. Again, like I said,
So
I
they
can't get over it.
they try to separate themselves from the satanic church.
Right. Because there are devil slash Satan worshippers out
Do you
there.
think so?
Oh, that
Really?
well, are they
Really?
pretend to be whatever. I
Do
mean,
you
they're
really think so? I
sure.
don't know.
I
So
think hey, why not?
let's get into this sooner than later. So earlier I was listening not earlier. I mean, fucking this whole last week. I listened to a lot of things Lucian Greaves had to say. I've so many podcasts I've listened to about uh cold case murders or unsolved crimes like in the 80s, early 90s. You hear this satanic panic. We talked about it with fucking Anton LaVey. Lucian Greaves gives the best example or best answer for this that I've heard anyone say. So in the 80s, churches see their numbers of members start to decline. And they're like, well, fuck, it's like, what's going to bring them back? Well, nowadays you see it more than anything. What makes people consume?
Well,
What is
you trigger their
what's the
fear and emotions,
fear?
and so like you said, in the 70s and 80s, they convinced the general public that Satan was alive and well inside
So
15-year-old
healthy.
kids wearing
Yes.
Metallica t-shirts,
Fucking here
right?
they come in droves.
And
And
it
it's like
sounds
as
so
soon as they
fucking
said it, I was
absurd,
like,
but
but it worked. It worked. There was people who spent serious time in prison over this same concept. It,
right.
it just it blows my mind.
It's very similar to what we talked about when last week or 2 weeks ago when we talked about the conflict between Russia and Ukraine, the fucking gay demons. Like, it's totally preposterous, but it's like they know that
Here
that's
they
gonna
come.
that
Right.
that's gonna trigger fear or whatever, as
Fear.
crazy as it sounds, but it's gonna trigger fear in people because of what their beliefs are.
He's gonna mess my makeup up.
I mean, I don't know, that's so wild, but no, you're right, man, like, fear I mean, we see it every day. Turn on fucking
Oh,
CNN, Fox News, MSNBC right now, it's gonna be doom and gloom about how the world's coming to a fucking end, and you turn on one
when the
channel, they're
vid
gonna tell
was
you one thing.
pumping,
Yeah,
fuck. When the vid was pumping, I mean, you're out buying this, you're buying that, you need the at-home test kit, you need vitamins, you need this.
and
I
the
don't
shit you
think
really should be scared of, you'll never hear about. You know what I
right.
mean?
The
I
shit that's in your cabinets
right. So,
and on Capitol Hill.
no shit, man. And so this organization's participation in public affairs includes political actions, referring to Capitol Hill, as well as lobbying efforts. And they focus on exposing Christian privilege, as they call it, when it interferes with personal religious freedoms. And it considers marriage a religious sacrament that should be governed under the First Amendment protection of religious liberty, which should prevail over state laws. The group regards invi- inviolability of the body as a key doctrine. It also views all restrictions on abortion, including mandatory waiting periods, as as an infringement on the rights of Satanists to practice their religion. So basically,
So
they are very my body, my choice
what they're talking about
people.
is in Missouri up until that abortion, whatever was passed. I don't know what bill it was, but in Missouri, if you were to walk into an abortion clinic and ask for an abortion, they basically gave you a piece of paper that had their own beliefs on it, from the state, and you were given a 48-hour waiting period. You were supposed to go home and read over this literature they gave you, and then
It's like
if
buying a
after
gun in Illinois.
after yes, if after those 48 hours you still felt like you were ready to get rid of this child, you come back and we'll take care of business.
As weird as it sounds, like now, granted,
There, there's a
I don't. That's not like a terrible idea,
no. I
but you would also think though,
I've aired my beliefs about
yeah,
abortion on here,
yeah.
and
But I'm
to
I'm
be
saying like
honest, I'm still in the same set. You want to do it? That's on you. I don't want to pay for it.
right. I
Other
don't
than
think
incest, rape, which that's what they always thump, and that's probably the minority in the fucking situation.
Oh, absolutely.
Don't want to pay for it.
Yeah, I think that
If
I
it's
don't
a
think it's
majority, maybe we talk, but
Yeah, I would say I don't think it's a terrible idea. In concept, it sounds intelligent. Just to maybe prevent someone from making an emotional decision. Like maybe it's you told your boyfriend, "Hey, I'm pregnant," and he's like, he freaks out, says he's leaving you, and so you make a rash decision that you're gonna have an abortion, and
Well,
then you
fuck,
get
kill
done,
him
and
instead. I mean, shit.
well, but I'm saying then like 2 hours later
Damn.
after he's thought about it, he calls you back and says, "Hey, sorry, I reacted really poorly." Like, "Oh, too late." Already, I mean, just to eliminate maybe those types of things. But typically, I would guess most people that go do this, they've probably already thought and thought and thought and thought about it enough at that point. It's probably been a difficult enough decision, um,
No,
to that extent. Whatever.
like I
You get what
said,
I mean.
in this world, you should have the choice to basically do whatever you want. Whatever the fucking reaction to that choice you have is what it is. You know what I mean? I don't want to be responsible for it.
For sure.
You know what I mean?
No, I get
The
it.
same as I don't expect you to be responsible for my choices. Like I want it to be a singular fucking thing. Obviously, you made a choice before that happened. Now you're making another choice, and they both fall on your shoulders, not on mine.
No, you're right. I think that's really the
As
big thing at the end of the day. Like the people that we all have to live with the decisions and the choices that we make along the way, and a lot of extra. I'm guilty of complete fucking strangers sitting there and like I'll be like, God, I can't believe this fucking person did this. Blah 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 blah. Yeah, it don't fucking affect me at all. Like I should not give a shit. Like
yeah, it has no
you know
bearing
what I
on your
mean?
life.
Um, I do that all the time, and it really it should just be like I said, live and let live, man.
There, there is a really great documentary on the Satanic Temple. That's the first time I ever got my taste.
Right.
And it's
Well, hey,
called Hail. It's called Hail Satan.
are you capable of either talking by yourself for a minute while I go take a leak, or you want to take a little quick break?
I'm gonna I'm gonna ramble. I don't know how far you got to walk, but
Not far. I will hustle.
I'm gonna talk through the Satanic Temple thing. Okay.
Do it. Yep.
So documentary Hail Satan. It kind of lays out their beliefs. It gives a good, somewhat of a backstory into Lucian Greaves. Didn't like, although he's a co-founder, was not a huge fan of, being like the spokesperson of this group, especially what came with it. There was a lot of hate. There's a lot of people who's threatened his life, threatened his family's life. But in the documentary, they have a, kind of a beef, whatever, with the state of Oklahoma, which at their state capital, a former senator had donated a monument of the 10 Commandments. So the state of Oklahoma sets this monument that was given to him by a senator. That's the 10 Commandments. And Satanic Temple fucking zooms right in. And they're like, well, we would like to donate something to be put on the state capitol. Well, their monument is a monument of Baphomet, which is quote unquote satanic monument, and people are fucking losing their mind.
Over this monument.
Oh,
What
fucking
is it?
just
Like what you Baphomet you
you've
said.
seen.
So what?
I sent you the picture earlier. The goat head, female's
Gotcha.
body, head on
All
top.
right. Yeah, I've seen it before. Yeah. So
You know,
yeah, and that's why I think just and I get it that they're like, well, if they can do that, why can't we do this? Sure, totally understand that. But
separation, right? Separation of church and state. One thing I think a lot of people always fucking forget is what was this country built on? We were force fed this when we were kids. What did those fucking pilgrims come here for?
religious
Freedom of
freedom,
what?
religious
Freedom
freedom.
of fuck yes. Freedom of
But
religion.
you would be remiss to not acknowledge how much religion is ingrained in the foundation of this country.
What religion?
In God we trust is literally on
God.
every dollar you spend.
Right. It
I mean,
doesn't
but
have to
God
have a
is,
name. Just a
but that's
god. It's a god.
sure,
It's a
but
higher power.
wouldn't that be
I don't think
religion
so.
in some way? Like, couldn't the
Yeah,
fucking
to be
but
honest, I think
isn't
there's
that
maybe only
offensive
one
to
other.
the
I think there's one other actual, like, not actual. I hate to say it like that, but long-standing religion that's really against, because they have a different name for their god, but
well, like
just a
the
god. It's a higher power.
sure,
I
yeah,
get
I
that
get what you're
part.
saying, but also when this country was founded, I would say that north of 90% of people attended church regularly and lived their lives based on religion and its teachings. Um, it was much more commonly accepted in schools, government, everyday life
But
than it is now, for
what
sure.
what religion?
Oh, would that have been like the fucking we start with, we got the
It's
Pilgrims,
just Christian.
the
It's just a
Puritans, whatever.
just
It's all the same. It's just
Christian
over
religion. Yeah.
time, a lot of it is like basically it's all the same type of stuff, just watered down, more relaxed.
Right.
And I think the church
It's
realized
a
that they had
Christian
to.
religion. Yeah.
I think the church realized they had to loosen the reins a little bit because just that people weren't willing to live their lives that way.
And
So it's like, oh well, okay, now this is okay, now that is okay. Which to me delegitimizes it in some ways because if you're about it, then be about it. You tell me like, oh, all of a sudden now, 2000 whatever years later, uh, God has decided that now this is okay. It hasn't been okay for 2021 years, but now it's
so
okay.
that's kind of where I'm at with it. You know, you have a religion, and I wouldn't say the Christian religion is what they're completely anti to. I feel like they probably throw a couple more daggers at the more the Catholic side, which is still Christian based, just
Let's
different
see,
rules,
it's like one of the original,
different
if not
rules.
the original Christian religion, right?
Right. And I personally enjoy some of the things they attack on that side myself. If you look at that, watch that documentary. One thing the Satanic Temple is huge on is children, the treatment of children, children's rights, and
Well,
you know,
that's something human beings should be huge on,
yeah, you think? Like, why wouldn't you be?
right?
That's your that's not necessarily your future, but the fucking, it's like you plant a tree someday, but it's never a tree you will ever see, basically reach its
You will never
pinnacle.
sit in the shade of that tree,
Yes. Fuck yes. That's
but
what you're doing. You're
yeah,
planting roots for someone else.
yes.
And that's something we've lost total sight of. We're all here right now, right here. Like, I'm ready to sell my soul just so I can fucking get one on J-Lo. You know what I mean? Like, mine should have been better. It should have been something for in the future. Help these fucking people out. But religion, a lot of times, I think, is right here, right now. They want the doom and gloom. It's always got to be the end of days. I don't think it is.
I think that
I'm not sure we will see the end of days. I don't think our children will see the end of days
I
if
think
people pull their fucking heads out of their asses.
although I think they believed it wholeheartedly and the people preaching it believed it wholeheartedly, I think that in ways religion was established as a means of kind of keeping people in check, giving them probably when the country, let's just look at the colonies or even predate that when the pilgrims fucking rolled in, right? Like there was no government. They lived by the laws of their religion. Um,
It's a
you could
it's a
almost say
it's a basic guidelines for life. I
you
mean,
could almost say the church was the first form of government in a way.
not in
Um,
a way it was.
But then in more modern terms, I just think it's a way to um one way to give people hope of something else after this. Because life is kind of grim if you do believe that when you die, it's just that's it, man. Like it's kind of grim to exist believing that.
No,
So
it isn't. Fucking have a good time right here, right now. You
yeah,
know
but
what I mean?
the belief that
Do
you
unto
may
you.
but the belief that you'll see the people you love again and all that stuff, I think that is comforting to people and it helps
Enjoy
them grieve
enjoy the
and
time you've had. You know what I
sure.
mean? I've told you multiple times. I've had a couple of people very close to me pass away. I would like to believe someday I see them again. I'm not sure it happens. So until it does, all I have is that time we had right here, right now.
Yeah,
You
I
know what
get
I
that.
mean?
I get that for sure. And I think in other ways it's uh a way to, I guess, encourage morality, encourage people to live their life in a way that's
That's what I'm
uh
saying. Fucking boost morale. Like I don't get that. Boost your own.
so
Right
I can tell
here.
you what boosted my morale is when you told me what Lucian did to the mother of the Westboro Baptist Church, if
Which,
you would like to fill the
hey,
listeners in.
before this fucking episode ends, I need you to hook me up what this fuck's name is. Because I know who's got one coming. And it's him. It's gotta be him.
Who's that?
The leader of
Who?
the Westboro
Okay,
Baptist Church.
I'll look that up right now. So let's get it. Oh, tell that story real quick, and then let's get into the 7 tenets, and then
So
wrap this thing up.
I don't know if everybody knows. Most people know Westboro Baptist Church, huge bitches. They fucking protest soldiers' funerals, uh, gay rights parades, whatever. I mean, they're way. I don't even know what fucking side they are on. But Lucian Graves went on his way to visit the gravesite of the leader of the Westboro Baptist Church and, you know, quote unquote, teabagged her gravesite. And after teabagging it, he declared her a lesbian for all of eternity, which I love that. I love that
Here,
part of
here.
it.
That is. So,
Touche.
do you want to know this man's name now or later?
Later.
Okay.
Save it. Cash that thing.
So he was the leader, I think, for the longest, but he was only the leader through 2014.
Yeah. I think
That good
that's who
enough?
he probably
Okay.
teabagged. Yeah.
Okay. Sounds good. So, much like the um, Church of Satan, the Satanic Temple has 7 fundamental tenets. Most of which I think all of us, when you hear these, if you take out the satanic part, you would get on board with. And that is, so we'll start with number 1. One should strive to act with compassion and empathy toward all creatures in accordance with reason. It's one of
How
the
do you, I
smartest
mean,
things I've ever heard.
I'm saying, fuck, scrap everything we got. To be honest, if you just did that, you probably could get rid of the rest of them. Could you not?
Yeah, I mean that's it's
What
fucking
the fuck do you need the rest of them
just
for?
yeah, it's great. I don't know. I cannot say anything that's going to add to it, so I'm not going to try to. It's perfect as it's written.
I'm
Number
going
2.
twosies. I
Yep.
got twosies.
Yeah, you got it. Let's hear it.
The struggle for justice is ongoing and necessary pursuit that should prevail over laws and institutions.
So when I
Which
read that, I guess I thought they're saying that that laws, legalities maybe get in the way of justice being served sometimes. Is that how you took it?
uh a little bit we're even, everybody always goes back to the Constitution, goes back to, and that's fine. If you have an issue with anything that's listed there, take up arms. Find a way to change it. You know what I mean? but don't be a fuck about it. Find a better way. And I think that's, what they're saying right there. If there's something you see you don't enjoy, where maybe things aren't done the way they should be, justice isn't served, find a way to change it.
Right.
And I'm down with that.
So number 3, one's body is inviolable, subject to one's own will alone. So that is basically their way of saying
My
my
body.
body, my choice,
Touche.
which I agree
Yeah.
with. You want number 4?
Yep. The freedoms of others should be respected, including the freedom to offend, which fucking
Sign
God,
me up. We've been doing
huge
that here
bone.
at the pub for a year and some change.
Huge bone. To willfully and unjustly encroach upon the freedoms of another is to forego one's own. So basically, you're free game. They're saying once you fuck somebody else's mother, they are free and ready to come fuck yours as well.
Yes, which I'm down with that. Number 5. Yeah, the original motherfuckers here at the pub. Number 5. Beliefs should conform to one's best scientific understanding of the world. One should take care never to distort scientific facts to fit one's beliefs.
So, right there, I hope they have a huge issue with what the United States did for the last fucking 2 years with the world's deadliest pandemic since the fucking Black Plague. Number 6, people are fallible. If one makes a mistake, one should do one's best to rectify it and resolve any harm that might have been caused.
Yeah,
You
so
know what? These rules sound like kindergarten rules. Like shit
do.
you should just been given right out the womb.
But just think of how many of these, even there's only 7 of them, and most
Don't be a
people
fucking asshole.
aren't capable.
If you are an asshole, fuck someone else's mother, make you feel better about it. Don't piss on anybody else's rules. God,
And to wrap it
it's
up
so
with
much
number
easier.
7, every tenet is a guiding principle designed to inspire nobility in action and thought. The spirit of compassion, wisdom, and justice should always prevail over the written or spoken word.
So basically, all that is saying is by the time you've gained knowledge greater than what you've already been told, preach it, do it. That's
No,
that's
sure.
genius.
No, those things are fantastic. I don't know. Like I said, I could not have put it better myself. I know that we liked a lot of the ones that Anton LaVey had.
To be honest, now after
This is
if you go
better.
side to side, yeah, I take this
Yeah,
one as
his
well.
had a couple goofy ones in there.
He probably wrote them himself, but
Yeah.
I'm
No,
taking these guys.
I mean, when I read those at the end of the year, say like summarize that up in a few words, it's just be a good fucking person. Like that's
Yeah,
it. Be a
don't
good
be a fucking
person
asshole.
and leave everybody else alone.
And
Like
fight for the things you want, which you should. Why wouldn't you? If
no,
it's
I
something
get
you
it.
believe in, do it.
100%.
Go fucking teabag the guy who did you wrong
No, this
or
is
his
good, man.
mother.
I don't know how it'll be. I don't know how it plays to a listener, but it was good. I think that I enjoyed doing this. It did feel very natural because I think we had a lot of natural thoughts about it. Sometimes these things get a little weird when we're trying to like you may not have an opinion or any decent thoughts and you almost got to like pretend sometimes, but this is one I think where we really
I'm
had some
telling
pretty
you,
solid beliefs.
in the next 48 hours, watch the documentary Hail Satan. You'll love it'll flip some of these other maybe menial beliefs or ideas you have in your mind. It'll flip them upside down because you're like, you have this one group who preaches, you know, they're so inclusive. They're going to bring everybody in. They love everybody, just like their leader. You know what I mean? But they're some of the most fucking, I'm not even gonna say backstabbing. I don't even know how to put it. They're some of the most vile people sometimes. For
Dude,
no, they don't practice what they preach. Some of the nicest people I've ever met, covered in tattoos, look like they just did 20 years in prison. You know
I've
what I mean?
never
And I just don't get it.
I've never felt more judged than um I don't know if I should that's not necessarily true. But I feel like some of the most judgmental people are people who are avid churchgoers that claim to be devout
Holier than thou. Yeah.
Christians or whatever the case may be. And I think that some of the places I've felt the most judged have been in churches. And you're
Right.
right. Some of the kindest, nicest, most genuine people I've ever met have been what you would believe to be the complete opposite. People who have nothing,
Have been there.
you know, like
The quote unquote Messiah, you know what I mean? They're in his position. That's who built the church, right? You know, from nothing
right.
comes nothing kind of deal. You know, I don't get it a lot of times.
And I think to some degree, to put it in Christian terms, to appreciate heaven, you have to have spent a little bit of time in hell. You know what I
Right.
mean?
I mean, yep.
And
Something to look forward
most
to.
of those people who are, devout, and not, this is very judgmental of me to say, but most of those people, when I think of these mega churches and things like that, there
You
are a lot
ain't
of
coming
people
to
there
my
are a lot
boy
of people.
Joel. You
Well, I'm saying
coming to Joel?
there's a lot of people that sit in those seats that haven't spent a day in hell, you know
Wanted.
what I mean?
Yeah. They
Like,
haven't wanted for anything.
uh, and so, I don't know. It's a really deep, deep, deep rabbit hole, when we start talking about this kind of stuff, so I don't wanna get too
Hey,
far off track.
well, it's your turn. You got to entertain these people for about, I don't know, 20, 30 seconds. So do your best.
Alright. Wow, man, that's like the Gong Show. So as Ryan uses the restroom, it will be my job to come up with the subject matter for next week. I haven't quite decided what it may be, so if you do have any ideas, feel free to reach out. Let us know what seems interesting to you. We've got a list of stuff to choose from, so I'll probably dig into the list and see if there's something that seems intriguing that I can whip
Did you tell
something
them
up
about
for.
our Patreon?
I no. Fucking
I could
sure
have swore
fucking
that's
did
what
not.
I could have. Hey, what is that?
I've got a visitor again. She's
You didn't tell them about our Patreon. I'm so upset.
did not. Nope.
Were you in
All right.
here preaching about the devil?
No,
While I was gone, what were you doing?
I said that this was your week. You picked the topic, and
Are
so
you
next week's my
seriously trying
turn.
to get them to pick your fucking
I
week?
just
Is that
said
what
if
you're
it
doing
no,
here?
I mean, no one's gonna fucking say anything
God
anyways. You know how
damn it.
this shit goes. How often does anybody ever like actually reach out and say, talk about this? Nobody fucking ever does. So it's gonna be me anyways, which is totally fine. I'm looking forward to it, and
Next week,
we can only hope that you are as willing of a participant as I have been this week.
next week, tenant number 6, we're having sex with everybody's mothers. Plain and simple.
All right, so just so you know, his name is Fred Phelps.
Yeah, I should have known it was fucking Fred Phelps.
Yeah. His
I
uh
didn't
his
know, but
his full name is Fred Waldron Phelps Sr. Born November 13th, 1929, died March 19th, 2014. American minister who served as the pastor of the Westboro Baptist Church, worked as a civil rights attorney, and ran for a statewide election in Kansas. Gained national attention for his homophobic views and protests near funerals of gay people, military veterans, and disaster victims who he believed were killed as a result of God punishing the U.S. for having bankrupt values and tolerating homosexuality. So if you went down in a tornado, this fucking cat was going to show up and protest your
if
funeral.
anybody
What the
wanted to
fuck?
bomb anyone, why would you ever take this guy off your list?
Oh my
Just
gosh.
what the fuck?
What a nightmare.
How much time do you have on your hands? Let's be honest. Let's be honest. If you're
So
gonna
was it
pick
his wife that was declared as a lesbian in the
his
afterlife?
mother,
His mother. That's wonderful.
they
God,
bag the fucking headstone, which I love. They bagged the headstone, but they also had a couple get married on top of it.
that's even better. That's
Like
awesome.
that was the altar, was mom's
Oh,
gravestone.
so good.
Yeah,
So horribly
huge fan.
disrespectful, but fuck them.
Not really, but it's okay.
That's great.
That's the best part I love about that is fucking do you. You know what I mean?
So I wonder who had the job in that church of like sitting there, like,
Do what thou
you know,
wilt.
hey Fred, there was just a tsunami, in the Philippines. We're gonna load the boys up on the plane and we're gonna go protest at some kids' funerals that were on the beach. Like, fucking.
Maybe they were lady boys. Who knows? You said the Philippines. Could have been lady boys.
Well, and I guess they weren't a global organization because he says this was a result of
Specifically fucking Kansas.
God punishing the U.S. for having bankrupt values and tolerating homosexuality.
Punish me for fucking Kansas being a state. You ever been to Kansas?
Oh yes,
Fuck.
Kansas, Nebraska.
We should protest all of their fucking funerals.
Yeah,
The fuck out of Kansas. What are you doing there?
yeah. There ain't much to do in Kansas.
Tumbleweed, son. There ain't a fucking tree. I ain't see one tree in Kansas. No Lawrence. No nothing. I ain't playing. You're laughing.
Nary a tree.
Tall grass. You get tall grass, one hill. Kansas. That's it. 7 hours. Drive right through the whole goddamn thing. That's what it feels
That's rough. I've done that. It's terrible. All right, man. Let's wrap this thing up.
You ready to get out of here?
Oh yeah.
I hope
Ready
everybody
to
enjoyed
get out.
this. If you have time, Hail Satan. Documentary. Drink beer. Hail Satan. I think that's to be the name of this episode. What do you think?
You think so? That'd be pretty
Drink
wild.
beer. Hail Satan. That documentary change your life. It doesn't have to change your belief, but maybe it change your life. So, all right. Here's to those that wish us well. All the rest can go to hell. Fuck you, Fred Phelps. What are you staring at me for, Brad? I got one.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
We'll just play doubles here in the Satanic Temple.
Everybody in the club getting tipsy.
World's loudest outro ever. That's good. What are you stopping it for? Let it run.
It was like right on too, wasn't it? It's like it sounded like it.
Just so you know, I'm teabagging your fucking headstone someday, son. You'll be a lesbian for all of eternity.
Sign me up.
Just like we always wanted.
I won't deny it, I'm a straight rider.
You don't want to fuck with me.
I got the police fussing at me, but they can't do nothing to a G.
Good night, everybody.
Wow, very nice.